So aim of the experiment is to part A, install a UDP Echo server, that is XINetD. Okay, that's number one. B, to use the netcat program as UDP Echo client. Okay, and part C is to use Wireshark packet capture program to study UDP Echo behavior. So these are the three things that we want to do today. Okay, so in order to understand this, let's take a quick look at the experimental setup that we are going to do. Okay, so let's do this now. First, let's see. Of course, we know that all the programs that we are running, all the programs that we do run, they are all running in the application layer. Okay, application layer. This is OS user mode. Then, just below this application layer, we are running things. We have another layer called the transport layer. And what is the transport layer? And we know that this is OS kernel mode. For today, our focus here in this transport layer is just UDP. So here we have this UDP, which is the transport layer protocol. UDP. Okay, so let's first talk about the UDP Echo server. Okay, UDP Echo server. So UDP Echo server, as we have just written, is that we have to set up an UDP Echo server, an existing program. Okay, so this is our UDP Echo server. UDP Echo server. And what's the UDP Echo server? The UDP Echo server. And it is XINetD. XINetD, an existing program. And again, there is a client. UDP typically runs on client server architecture. Okay, so this is our UDP Echo client, and this is an existing, again another existing Linux program called the netcat program. Now our target is that whenever we send a message to this Echo server, whenever this netcat, the client, sends a message to the server will simply echo it back. If the client says hello, server should say hello again. If the client says bye bye, then the Echo server should return bye bye. Whatever the client says, the UDP server, Echo server will simply echo. Okay, but as we have talked about in the previous class, in order for this communication to happen, okay, each of these servers must have what is called a port. Okay, let's draw this. So each of these servers, the Echo server or the Echo client, they should have an appendage. They should have something which is a port. Okay, so let's run this. So this is the server socket. Okay, and in this server socket, for UDP Echo server, we already know for Echo service, we know what is the well-known port. The port number is 7, and this has to be done. Now, Echo service, in order to access this Echo service, the Echo client should also have a socket. Okay, it should also have a socket. And what is this socket? This socket is the client socket. Client socket. And this client socket will have some number here. It really doesn't matter. It will have something, we don't know, some large number, socket number here, port number here. But for Echo server, remember, this is a well-known port. Port number 7 is reserved for Echo services. So this is the setup. XINetD acts as an UDP Echo server. For UDP Echo client, we have netcat, and in order for the communication to happen, both of them have sockets, and each socket has a assigned port number. Now, in order for this communication to happen, let's take the first packet that is sent by Echo client to echo server. Okay. So say for example echo client sends something here, sends a string. So for example it's going to send a string. So suppose it's going to send a string from here. Okay. So as we know, application layer programs cannot directly talk to each other. This UDP echo client has to first send it to the transport layer. And what is the data that it's sending? What is the data that it is sending? The data, suppose it sends hello. Okay, it sends hello. The string is hello. Of course, after hello we put a new line and enter. So here also, just after this there will be a new line. So hello, we send HELLO, 5 characters plus one more we send. And what is the source port from where this packet is coming? The source port is whatever here, XXX. We don't know what it is. Really, it's not very important. So some source port. What is important is the destination port. Okay. And what is the destination port? The destination port will be port number 7. Okay. This is the packet UDP, not packet, the right term is datagram, that is sent by the UDP echo client. Of course, it doesn't go from here, from netcat directly to XINetD. It will have to pass via the transport layer. Once it reaches the transport layer, it says, oh, I know what to do with this. Okay, this is a standard UDP packet, and this client just wants to talk to a server which is in this current machine. So there is no problem. It will just forward this packet to which process? To the XINetD process, because it has the server socket number 7 attached to it. Remember, port number 7 is reserved, is a well-known service for which protocol? For the echo protocol. So that is how the echo client sends a packet to the server. Now, such a packet that was sent is also called a request packet. It's an echo request packet. It's an echo request packet, because this netcat program is sending it to the server, asking it to please kindly echo. Oh, it's a very stupid kind of idea, is it not? You send something hello and you ask the server to please hello back. Okay, but anyway, that's what an echo protocol does. Whatever the client sends and whatever is client sending, this is called an echo request. Once it reaches the protocol, the datagram passes through this, reaches this transport layer. From transport layer, it comes to this XINetD process, and XINetD now says, oh, I received a packet. It's an echo request packet, so I'm going to reply. So this XINetD now generates an echo response. Okay, and what is echo response? It's just a reply, it's just response. Whatever was sent, it will be sent back. Okay, that's what an echo does. Okay, so what is the data that is being sent back? If I sent a hello, it will just send me back a hello, new line. Okay, there is no problem. The only difference is now that who is the sender, who is the source port? The source port is 7. Okay, what is the source port? The source port is 7. See here, this is the source port. And where does it want to send this packet back? Let's take another color. Okay, where does it want to send this packet back? Okay, this is the echo response. This packet it wants to send, no? It wants to send packet back to where? To some destination port. Okay, and what is the destination port? The destination port definitely is this, whatever XXX is. Later on, when we run the program, we will see that this XXX will be a fairly large number, a large port number, but you can just run it right XXX like this now. So we can see that the packet, and of course this packet goes here, it passes through this transport layer. The transport layer UDP protocol says, oh yeah, I know what to do with this packet, because this datagram is meant only for a a process which is running here in the same machine. So I'll simply forward this data back to this echo client. And once echo client sees this packet, response packet, it says, oh yeah, I'm just going to print hello because that's what I received from the server. Okay, so till here I think it's okay. Echo client sends an hello, server receives that hello, XINET D receives that hello. It says hello back, says the same thing again. The only difference is both the packets are almost identical, except that here the source port and the destination ports will be switched. Okay, when we switch it, we get an echo response. Otherwise, it's the same thing. So till here I think there is no problem. Okay, so now this is what we want to do. We have already drawn the picture, and now we want to actually install or actually try out each of them. So first let's go and install XINET D, the echo server. So you take a command prompt. Okay, let's take a command prompt, and so the first step is step number 1. You can call it the prerequisite, meaning the requirement before you run the experiment. Prerequisite is first you have to install the UDP echo server XINET D. And what do you do? How do you do this? You have to simply say sudo apt install XINET D. Once you do this, you have to open a file. This is sudo XINET d.d, and that's UDP echo. You have to open this file, and inside this file there is a line display equal to disable equal to yes. There is a line. Okay, you have to change it to disable equal to no. Okay, these are the steps, and then you have to restart. You have to restart service XINET D restart. Once you do this, okay, the UDP echo server is installed. Now let's check whether Netcat is running. Okay, Netcat should be there. So check if UDP client is installed. And how do you do this? You just take on the prompt on any terminal, you just say netcat. Okay, and there should be some output. There should be some output. Okay, it should not be like error saying not found. Once you do this, we are now ready to run the experiment. Okay, so let's first do this step. Install the UDP echo server XINET D. Okay, let's do this now. So let's open this guy here. Okay, and say sudo apt install XINET D. Give the password. Wait for some time. The installation will start. Download. It's a small file. It should install quickly. Okay. Once the installation is over, now we'll open that file. Okay. sudo vi etc XINET d.d, that's a file, and the one that we are looking for is UDP echo UDP. This is the file. Okay, this is a protocol file. It says which server to run. Here you can see at line number 12, it says disable equal to yes. Okay, it should have said disable equal to yes. This is what the entry should be. What you have to do is you have to change this disable yes to disable no. Okay, disable no. Okay, now we restart the service. sudo service XINET restart. Once we have done this, the server is set up. Now what is the next experiment? What is the next thing that we have to do? We have to actually check if the netcat program is installed. So you just have to say netcat. Let's just try it out. It says something, some usage thing comes. Basically, we are checking whether the netcat is installed. In our case, it's installed, and now we are ready to run the program. Okay. So now let's run the client. Server is already running, remember. I can just check sudo service x inetd status. If we do this, it says that it is already running with one available service. And what's the one available service? Is the echo service. Okay. Of course, we can always stop it. sudo service x inetd stop. Okay. The moment you do this, no more service. The service doesn't run anymore. Okay. So let's try this. Let's keep the server stopped and now try connecting with the client. Okay. And how do you connect with the client? Let's try connecting with the client. In order to do this, we'll say netcat -u for UDP, localhost is the current machine, port number 7, and 7 remember is the well-known port for echo service. Now tell me whether this connection will happen or not. Okay, can this client talk to the server? The server is dead. No, there is no server now. So whenever we type it and whenever we say hello, enter, it will do nothing. It will not, the server will not reply back hello because there is no server running. You can try that, you can see it. sudo service x inetd status. It should say it's a stop. See? It's exiting, it's done. It is stopping the internet super server, whatever. So basically, there is right now no server. Therefore, there is no connection possible. Now, just to confirm that it is really connecting, let's start the x inetd server now. sudo service x inetd start. Wait for some time, probably one second or so. Now the server is started. You can check the status. X inetd sudo service x inetd status. And you can see that it is started working with one available service. And we already know what is one available service, the echo service. Okay. So now we are ready to do the experiment. Okay. So now the server already, remember, is running, and now we have to just connect. And now we are going to say netcat -udp -u localhost 7. Okay. So now the client is ready to talk. It has not sent any string yet, but the program, the netcat program, the client has started and it's waiting for our input. So now let's send a hello, okay, to the server. Okay. The moment we say hello to the server, remember we are not sending 5 characters. We are sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the one that is like this guy, you know, the one that is marked, the new line. Okay, that also is a character. So we are going to send 6 characters. We are going to again send 6 characters. And remember, it's going to happen very fast. The moment we say hello and enter, immediately the server will respond. In our picture, it took a lot of time. See, we'll first send an echo request, and echo request will pass by a UDP, then reaches this echo server, and then the server again generates a packet. And no, it seems like it's taking a lot of time. In practice, what's going to happen? The moment we type hello and enter, if the server is alive, it will immediately respond with a hello. So you can try it now. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Expect a hello now. Okay. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Enter. See, immediately and hello has appeared. Now you can try testing. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Enter. Testing. See, it's very fast. So even though the picture seems like it's going to take a lot of time and come back, in reality, it's very fast. Okay. So you have just seen. So let's look at our objective now. Our objective here was to understand. How this thing really works. How does an echo client, echo server, UDP echo server, and UDP echo client work? So we have already installed the first part. We have done this. We have installed xinetd, and then we have just checked that UDP echo client netcat is there, and you could successfully connect the client and the server successfully, and you have seen that echo service is working. In order to understand in more detail about how this UDP service works, we are now planning to do the third step. And what is the third step? We are going to start the Wireshark packet capture filter program, which will sit in between and watch all the packets flying by. And once we see the packets, we can really find the true nature of UDP. Okay, so now we are ready to do the third step. That's to use the Wireshark packet capture program to study the UDP echo behavior. What does it mean? Let's take the same figure now. Okay, take the same figure, but this time, instead of two processes, the echo server process and the echo client process, we start another process. Let's draw it with red. Okay, and this is the guy who sits in between. Okay, this guy. And who is this program? This program is the famous Wireshark program. And what does Wireshark do? Wireshark is a program that is able to monitor communication that is happening in your computer. So what does it mean? It means that it is able to, this Wireshark is able to listen to all the communications that's happening. Everything here. Okay? Is able to look at this UDP packet and say, okay, there is a echo request packet coming to UDP and it is being forwarded to the server. Then Wireshark notices another packet number 2. So this is packet number 1. This is packet number 1, echo request packet. And what's the second packet? It figures out there's an echo response packet. And what is echo response packet? Echo response packet is exactly the same as an echo request packet, except that the source and the destination port are now reversed. They are now reversed. Whenever you reverse it, earlier here source port was something and destination port was 7. Here source port has become 7 and destination port is whatever. Okay? Other than that, data, everything is exactly the same. So Wireshark sitting in between the third program is able to listen to these communication. Okay? So it will, so if Wireshark runs, it is able to observe, it is able to see two packets going. The packet number 1 is a request, packet number 2 is the response. Okay? So let's do this now. So let's take another tab here. Okay? And let's go Wireshark. Okay, let's go sudo Wireshark. Okay. And how do we run the Wireshark thing? First, the interface that we are choosing is any, just to make sure that everything we capture is okay. Then for the filter, for the capture filter, we are saying UDP port 7. Where is we saying UDP? Because we are interested in UDP now. And why port 7? Because port 7 stands for the echo protocol. So that's why we are interested in UDP port 7. If you don't do UDP port 7, okay, and if you just start capturing, see all kind of, it will, I don't know, it's going to get all kinds of data. See, this is, I don't know what's this, STP, I think it's a switch configuration thingy that now they are running. See, they are all talking to each other. Something is happening, we don't know. It's a spanning tree protocol. I think you have already studied this. So in order for switches to not create a loop, it will run this STP. And then I don't know, Hewlett-Packard is saying something. That's crazy. We cannot handle all this. Okay, this is listening to everything, all the packets that are passing by. So we don't want this. Let's stop this guy. Red button here, stop, and let's filter it out. And what's the filter that we are interested? The capture filter. We are interested in UDP port number 7. That's what we are interested in. So now let's run it. UDP port 7. It says, do you want to continue without saving? Okay, let the screen be empty. Let's make it slightly smaller. Let's keep it here. Okay, and this guy also probably, yeah. So now let's run this. Okay, now let's run this thing. So what are we going to do? Remember what's the situation here? Remember this guy. What is the situation here? The server is already running. Echo server XINetD is already running. And how will you check it? We'll say service XINetD status. If we do this, okay, if we do this, we say that it has already started running and it has one available service, namely the echo protocol. So I think it's okay here. Okay, and then okay, let's slightly make it slightly larger, okay, but not too much, otherwise it becomes very difficult. So now we have just seen that the echo server is running, and now we are going to run the client. There is no problem, we are ready to run the client. And how do you run the client? The client is netcat -u for UDP, localhost, meaning the current machine, port number 7. Okay, we are running this, and you say enter. Enter means we have just entered the netcat program, but the communication hasn't started yet. So let's place these two windows side by side. The Wireshark window here, okay, and this client window here. So now let's go and take a look at this program, the other program, this picture. In this picture, Wireshark is sitting. What's the first packet it will observe? The packet that is marked in red, the echo request packet, where the source port will be something and destination port will be 7, and suppose the data is hello, then it's going to send a 6-byte data hello followed by new line. Now Wireshark sees that this packet gets delivered to the echo server. After delivery of the echo server gets the packet and says, okay, I got an echo request, I'm just going to send the same packet back, except that the fields will be reversed. The source and the destination ports will be reversed. See here, this ulta. So source port earlier here was something and destination port was 7. Now the source port is 7 and destination port is something else. Okay, and data remains the same. So now the moment we start the client interaction, we are expected to see 2 packets, and it's going to be very fast, so you have to observe carefully. The first packet, remember, will be the request packet, and the second packet will be the response packet. Okay, so let's do this now. Okay, let's take this guy. Okay, so just about to say hello, and we are just about to enter. Okay, just look at this window, and it's going to happen so fast because 2 packets will immediately arrive. Okay, so you have to be very careful, mentally be ready to actually observe it. So ready, 1, 2, 3, go. And the moment you hit it, of course, we get the response from the server. And here you look, now 2 packets have been captured by the Wireshark. The first one is request. As you can see here, the first one is the red one is request. And what is the blue one? The blue one is response. The first one is request, and the next one, the red one, is response. So as we have drawn in the figure, exactly the same way we see actually 2 packets. Now let's go into the detail of the first packet, the request packet. And we can clearly see that you look at this echo. Echo is this application layer. Application layer means you have some data. The 68, 65, that's the data, no? 68, 65, 56, something. Now, what is the 68, 65? If you just click on this 68, 65 here, you can see that the 68, 65 actually matches hello. Okay? So you will say, how does 68, 65 mean hello? We have already done this earlier in a previous session, I think. You just have to, let's take another tab here. Okay, and we will just say man ASCII, remember? And when we say man ASCII, let's make it slightly larger. Let's look for H. What is H? H has a hexadecimal value of 68. Okay, 68. Then let's go for E. E is 65. E is 65. So you have a 68 for H here, and then a 65 for E. Then for L, you will say 6C. L is twice, so 6C will happen 2 times. Then finally for O, there will be 6F. So now we see that first there will be 68 for H, 65 for E, then 6C twice for 2 L's, and then finally 6F. Okay, armed with this ASCII chart, let's now quickly go back to this, Wireshark tool, and let's look at the data that was sent. What is the first data? See, you just highlight this. 68, okay, the H. 65, E. 6C twice, that is for 2 L's. And then O is 6F. And 0A is for new line. Okay. So you have just seen that 6 characters had actually been transferred, and that happens in the this data is there in the application layer protocol. Okay, so remember, everything that we are writing, all of them are converted to binary. Just you take it, put it into ASCII binary and just send the data. So this is the application layer. So let's hide this application layer portion. So presentation and session is not there. Now directly go to the UDP, user datagram protocol, the transport layer protocol. Okay, so here what is the source port? You just click here, make it larger. What is the source port? 58027. So now let's consult the picture. So what is the source port here? Okay, rather than this number, what is the number that we are getting? 58027. This is the port number. And what is this port number? That's the source port number. So what is the source port number here? 58027. That's the source port that goes. What's the destination port here in the picture? 7. So you can see even in Wireshark, the destination port is 7. What about the length? Okay, length, remember, a UDP header ka length is 8 bytes. Plus, what is the length of this hello? HELLO, 5 characters, plus one more new line character will be 6 characters, meaning 6 bytes. Okay, plus UDP header length is 8 bytes. 8 plus 6 equal to 14. So what do we see? There has to be a length field, and the length field should have the value of 14. So let's quickly check it, and you can see that the length is 14. So how did this 14 come by? HELLO, 5 characters, 5 bytes, plus a new line there, 6 bytes. Okay, 6. The data is 6 bytes. Plus the header length is 8 bytes. 8 plus 6, 14 bytes. How did the header length become 8 bytes? We'll just see very quickly. But remember, now UDP header has a length of 8 bytes plus 6 bytes of data is 14 bytes of data. Okay? Till here I think it's okay. Now look at the next packet. And what's the next packet? The response packet. And remember, the response packet is exactly the same as the request packet. The data will be the same. If you let's hide this. You look at the data here. Data will again be H, 68, 65, 6C, 6C, 6F. That is again the hello string. Okay? Followed by a new line, of course. So that's the hello string there, right there. So the data is the same. Let's go to the transport layer, user datagram protocol. Here we have just seen the source port is now 7 and destination port has now 58027. So you remember this picture? This picture we said that everything will be the same except that the source port and the destination port will reverse. So what will be the source port here? As we argued, it should be 7 because that's the source port. It's coming from port number 7. And what's the destination port? Destination port will be the new port, 58027. So here the destination port will be 58027. So what is the structure of the response packet? The values of the response packet. Response will have source port 7, destination port 58027, and data will be hello. See? Source port 7, destination 58027, and the data will be, and we just seen, the data will be hello string. So I hope you have understood exactly how by using Wireshark we are better able to appreciate the basic echo request and response protocol using two existing well-known client and UDP clients and servers. Okay. So now, since UDP is such a simple structure, now we can clearly, even without reading the book, just from Wireshark we can figure out. We should be able to figure out how will the format of the UDP protocol, UDP packet look like. So let's draw this. Let's try drawing this now. Okay, let's save this. Let's save this as what? UDP echo example. Okay, that's good. I think. Let's file a new one. Okay, so what are we trying to do here? Okay, we just talked about UDP. So let's look at the structure. The first thing that is required is the source port. So you can easily figure out how this works. Just take a triangle here. Okay, let's take a source port here. What is the source port? This is the source port. Okay, and then let's label it immediately. Okay, this is the source port, and we know this is 2 bytes. Okay, 16 bits meaning. And what's the destination port? Take some other color, red probably. This is the destination port. Okay, and what's the size of the destination port? Same as the source port, is it not? So this will be like destination port, and this is 2 bytes. Okay, where are we getting this? We are getting it from the Wireshark program. What is the next field? It is the length field. So let's draw this length field. Take some other color, probably black. Okay, and this is the length field. So this is the length field. Okay, this is also 2 bytes. Okay, and what's the last one? Last one is the checksum. Okay, this is what we haven't really talked about. Probably in the next class, or it might be a home assignment for you guys. Checksum is slightly not tricky, but something that you have to know about. So let's take the same color. Yeah, checksum. So checksum here. Let's put the checksum here. Okay. So check sum. This is 2 bytes. Okay, and this is the header, of course. This entire portion is the header, no? From here to here. Okay, this is the header. Just UDP header. And what's the size of UDP header? Size equal to 2 bytes plus 2 bytes. Source port, destination port plus length plus checksum equal to 8 bytes. Okay, that's why we said UDP header has a size of 8 bytes. And then finally we have the data here. Okay, whatever is the data here. The data could be large or small. So this is the data portion. This is the data portion. Okay. In our example, it was like HELLO followed by a new line here. So how many characters were there? This was 6 characters. 6 characters, meaning 6 bytes. No, each character you know is a byte. So therefore, what is the total size? Total size of UDP packet equal to header is 8 bytes. 8 bytes plus the data is 6 bytes. So what will be the total? The total, of course, is equal to 14 bytes, which is precisely what we see here, you know, the length. Okay, so I hope you have understood. So let's label this guy. So I hope you have understood how UDP is a very simple protocol, but how you actually figure out the structure of the UDP packet format, the UDP datagram format. Okay, how did you figure out? You can look it up in a book also, but Wireshark tells you everything, and plus we have done the experiments. Okay, so we have understood all of them except for this part. I think this is the portion. This portion is the portion that we really didn't do. We didn't really go through this checksum. So probably this will be a home assignment. Okay, so I hope you have understood this lecture. If you have any problem while doing this experiment, you can talk to me or WhatsApp me.